I consult a couple companies, like 6 or 7 a year, usually throughout the year. I say consult. I don't charge them anything. That's pro bono work. But that's how I got where I was at. I joined some best practice groups, and a couple guys that have really big shops were open books and helped a ton. So I've always said, like, anytime someone asks if for help or something, I'll give it to them. And so I've got 2 local competitors that call probably every other week, once a month for sure. We run through their stuff and I'll help them. But I do that in that hopefully they have less funny or not funny, oh crap moments. I shouldn't have done that. I tend to burn the ships, go a million miles an hour, but I also know, like, I'm very big on the people side of our culture. I think I would put it against any culture in any company that there is of people wanting to be here. But that also, I would say, if I'm, my weaknesses or one of my downsides is I hold situations longer than I probably should when I know they're not great for the benefit of others. And so I think most of my moments come from that. So that's some of the things. It's a little easier when you're not in the weeds of a spot to kind of see it from high level and say, hey, you can spend the next 12 months making the same mistake I made. And then at the end go, oh, crap, this costs us a year and X dollars. Or here's the pivots you need to make or the changes that are really having an effect on your business.
This episode is brought to you by Pierre Tax and Accounting, led by CPA Eric Pierre, a seasoned accounting and tax expert with years of experience helping individuals and businesses navigate complex financial landscapes. Whether you need personal tax planning, business tax strategy, bookkeeping, or financial planning support, Eric and his team are committed to helping you protect and grow your financial future with clarity and confidence. To get expert guidance you can trust, check out Pierre Tax and Accounting at pierreaccounting.com. This episode is brought to you by my friend Silas Lagoy over at ForgeMark Wealth. If you're a high-income business owner or professional and feel like you're getting crushed by taxes, you're not alone. And more importantly, you're not stuck. ForgeMark Wealth specializes in advanced legal tax strategies and wealth planning designed to help you keep more of what you make, grow it efficiently, and actually build long-term freedom, not just income. If you're making serious money but don't have a real strategy behind it yet, I highly recommend connecting with Silas and his team.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Builder's Bible podcast. Today, we're going to be covering a lot of key topics: the challenges, the pain points, growth, expansion, and many more. So stay tuned. I hope you enjoy it.
But yeah, hey, Bryan, thanks for hopping on a call with me. Really, really appreciate your time. How are things going? How are things down in Arizona?
Good. Starting to warm up. So the air conditioning company is getting ready to go on its normal uphill trajectory, hopefully for the next 6 months, 7 months. And yeah,
very nice.
It's interesting.
Very nice. I assume that's your prime time.
Yeah, we are starting March. Mid-March is usually when we call the proactive people start calling in and getting set up. We had a day at like 89, 90 degrees peak last week, and so it just organically or naturally starts picking up at that point. And then we cool back down. So it'll be a little bit ebbs and flows, but usually by the end of March, beginning of April, we'll be busy until start October.
Very nice. Very nice. Wow. So it's already 90 degrees in Arizona.
Yeah, it spiked a little early. Like I said, it comes back down I think it's supposed to be 80 something today, but then by like mid next week, we're back into the 70s. Actually, by tomorrow, 70s, another 80. But then 10 days out, we're 83, 84. So it'll start going back up to close to 90,
Gotcha.
Starting with the 90 range.
What's up, everybody? This episode is sponsored by ExitWise. If you're a business owner thinking about selling your company, whether that's now or years down the road, you need to know what your business is actually worth and how to maximize that exit. That's exactly what ExitWise does. They help you prepare, position, and ultimately sell your business by assembling a world-class team of M&A experts around you, guiding you from valuation all the way through closing. If you want to know what your business is really worth and how to increase that number before you sell, go check out exitwise.com and get ahead of it.
Okay, cool. Well, talk to me a little bit about AQuality. I mean, you guys have been around since what, 95, I believe, and then you've been running it for the last 20 years or so.
Yep.
So how did you get started and all that?
I've been here 20. Yeah. So my dad started the company originally in 95. And I tell everybody it's the typical family business situation where I worked summers in sixth and seventh grade, eighth grade. Probably about 15, 16. I was like, I swore I'd never work here again. Type scenario. I went out and started a career in another direction, and our worlds kind of aligned. I think it's 19 years. I have 20, but I can't ever remember start date. It's been about 19 years. My dad wanted me to come on to do the residential side for sales. He's a great technician and did all the stuff to be great sales, but he just knew that wasn't a strong suit. And I was a halfway decent talker. And so he thought like I'd come on and do the residential sales side. And so I did one sales training class. And I think it was like my third day, got a call for an estimate, family referral, friend, something, and went out and sold it. And I was like, this is going to be easy. Like I'm going to be rich in a week because it's just easy for me. But then I don't think we got another residential call for like 2 weeks because we were mainly doing commercial. So I was just kind of sitting around, like not doing much until I started answering the phones in the office or in our houses out of my parents' house, but they just had the line forwarded, but my dad was still having forwarded cell phone. So I just like, dude, I'm here. Let me start answering the phones. Started answering the phones and then started, doing some of the quotes. And then, I mean, we really didn't do much for quite a few years and he wanted to grow. So we started chasing commercial and we started growing the commercial side pretty good. And then about 10 years ago, I think it was, he got sick and we weren't sure what was wrong. Long story short, he has Parkinson's and it progressed like super fast. So at that point we were growing. I think we were almost to actually about 9 years, about like 1.5 million, 2 million in commercial, 100,000 in residential. But I don't do air conditioning. I mean, I go to trade school and I would find jobs. He'd give me the cost. I'd bid him, do it all, and we get it. And he'd go do the work with, 2 guys that we had, 3 guys that we had. And when he got sick, I was like, we got to think about pivoting because I can bury the company if I quote $500,000 job wrong. Whereas I can screw up a lot of, at least this is my thought, I can screw up a lot of home calls, one-offs, and not really affect the business. So he didn't come in for the next 6 years, 5 years, I think it was, and we just kind of grew. But I really wanted to grow, really want to do more than be 4 guys and doing commercial. And so we pivoted about 6 years ago into residential, even though we've always done it. Friends, family referral. Our marketing budget was like $500 a month at most, and 4 months of the year type thing, because we were doing commercial. And so I bought him out completely about 5 years ago, and then just I tell everybody like I'm a burn the ship kind of guy. Like I want it to be well thought out, educated risk, but risk nonetheless to just either grow or not do anything. And I couldn't do that while he didn't come in, like I said, for 4 or 5 years. But I was still paying him. That's the only source of income.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we had the conversation about me buying him out, bought him out. And then we pivoted a lot. I mean, we'll still do we'll probably do 3 million in commercial this year. That died down when I focused on residential to about 900,000 a million. But once we got residential kind of going in the right direction, I brought in another person for commercial and started doing some sales, and that's starting to grow. But we took the residential over the last 4 or 5 years, whether joined some groups, made some friends. I talked to just about everybody. We had 3 techs that would run commercial and residential 5 years ago. And now we have a residential side and a commercial side. And our residential, I think we're at 9 techs, 4 install crews. Like we'll do around 10 million this year. Forecasting is difficult the way the years have been going.
Yeah.
But we're tracking right now, even though it seems like it's a slow part of the year. We'll do 10 million on the residential side, probably 3.5, 4 million on the commercial side. So yeah, we've 4 employees to 48. I think we have now between commercial and residential in the last 5 years.
Wow, crazy. That's some significant growth. I was going to ask, like, wow, it sounds like commercial is your bread and butter, but the more you spoke, you're like, oh wow, okay, pivoting to residential, it's really worked out for you guys.
Yeah, residential for sure. Like our core side, we're trying to grow commercial now. Like I said, we brought some people in, but like we are and unbelievably customer experience focused. And so like I tell everybody, like, if you use this once, you'll never use anybody again. And if you do, it's something we screwed up. It wasn't intentional, because it's customer experience is how all of it's based. And so we focus on it, CSRs, and from the first call in to the text, the follow up to the installers, managers follow up, all the stuff we do is trying to create an experience that they wouldn't get if they called anywhere else. We added plumbing last year, a year and a half ago now, in house, and so we're up to try and get ready. Looks like making an offer on a third plumber now, and so
Oh,
on
wow.
that side of it.
Wow. So you're expanding big time, just beyond HVAC now.
Yeah,
You guys,
it's time.
are you guys working mainly with new builds, existing houses?
Zero new builds. Yep, it's all existing residential service and retro replacement, to call that,
Yeah.
but no new construction.
Okay. Gotcha. Wow. So yeah, I mean, Arizona summers can get pretty hot. So those ACs are cranking, so they definitely need a lot of maintenance, replaced, I'm sure, every, X amount of years. So yeah, I'm sure it's a big business down there. Good for you guys.
This episode is brought to you by 10x Nerds. If you're a business owner doing real revenue, there's a good chance you're overpaying in areas you haven't even looked at. Things like credit card processing, insurance, telecom, and more. 10x Nerds comes in, audits your expenses across 30 plus categories, and finds immediate savings. And here's the kicker: they only get paid if they save you money. It's a complete no-brainer. If you want to keep more of what you make, go check them out at 10xnerds.com. This episode is brought to you by Rakowski Law Firm. If you're a business owner or have built a level of wealth, but you don't have your estate plan dialed in, you're exposed. Rakowski Law Firm helps families and business owners protect their assets, avoid probate, and make sure everything transfers exactly how it should. This isn't just paperwork, it's a real strategy to protect your legacy. If you haven't looked at your plan in a while or don't have one, go to rakowskilawfirm.com.
So let me ask you this: with the plumbing side, where do you see that going? You guys trying to expand into that side? Do you have any experience with plumbing? You're going to hire a bunch of plumbers, or keep the existing company coming on, help you guys?
Yeah, that's actually how. So I bought Lions Roofing here in Phoenix about 2.5 years ago,
Hmm.
October like 23. But that's how I found Lions Roofing. We were technically not looking to buy a roofing company. I was trying to find a plumbing company. We turned a lot of plumbing work away, rather. Like, we were referring it off, and we just got to the size, and we got 3,000 club members right now, and at about 1,500, they right around that range, we just started to get calls all the time. Hey, what kind of water heater? Guys, do water heater? No. Do you have somebody? And we started like going, hey, we're giving away a lot of work. So I was going to try to find a real small mom and pop company that was good people, good customer service, not trying to take advantage of anybody, kind of set up. And it just never worked out for one reason or another. They're all not great at accounting, and so they're of that size. At least their books were bad, and it didn't line up. But the broker we were working with, trying to find companies, came with this roofing company, and so we ended up buying that. That's a whole nother story. But so then I said, let's just go in house. And somebody I knew happened to know somebody who just moved down from Colorado, who was a master plumber in residential, went up there to get his 4-year master plumber certification. He was going to start a company down here. Came and we talked about it and brought him in to run the plumbing company. He ran as a single plumber all our calls, so we got busy enough to hire another guy. And we did zero marketing. We were just kind of taking our calls that came in. And what we're doing now, we're got that dialed in, got it in service tight and right. Feel like we have good systems in place that we can scale it. Um, we've now started to turn on the marketing and do more than just our existing customers. And so they're packed. And so we've been interviewing for the last 2 weeks. We probably need one, maybe two more, at least one plumber, but probably two more plumbers. So hopefully we have 4 trucks by the end of March, running plumbing.
Wow. Wow, that's crazy. Good for you guys. What? So let me ask, is electrical next? Are you guys going to venture into the electrical side?
I
The whole,
never, yeah, I never say never, and we might. I don't like the idea of electrical. It's
yeah, yeah.
just it's yeah, not. At some point we'll probably offer it, just because we're trying to do a whole home service thing where everything under one roof. Um, but I also feel like we've got to perfect our processes and our procedures and our customer experience in every aspect before you go adding a bunch of other stuff. Like a lot of these companies are, jack up all trades, master of none type thing. And
Right.
we don't want to add something just to add it. If we don't think we can be the best at it, then no point in doing it.
Yeah. I mean, your name says it all, equality. So, yeah, that kind of tells you right there.
Most days.
Most days. Well, hey, let me ask, you got a question for you. So all your years have been doing this. Have you had a big oopsie moment, big, oh no, I wish I didn't do that, or a big, I regret that type of deal?
Way more than I'd probably like to admit. I mean, that's kind of how we got here is unfortunately some of it figuring out the hard way.
Mhm.
Uh, in business, you're saying like I don't know. I mean, I'll have to narrow it down to one or two, I'm sure. But I mean, as far as um, who's benefiting from the answer to this question, I guess it's more what.
I was just thinking of, I know, is there a, I mean, you've been at this for so long, there has to be some sort of funny, oopsie moment or, oh no. But if you can't come, I'm sure there's been a lot. It all kind of meshes
Yeah, I'll just say
together.
I don't know that I find too many of them funny. I'm not sure if I've got any great hilarious stories. We have done a lot of there's definitely been a lot of that was probably a bad idea in hindsight, or
Yeah. Yeah.
as far as that goes. Yeah, I guess I don't have a one-off funny story. I'm sure we got plenty of funny stories.
Sure. Sure. Sure.
But
But that's the thing. When you make those type of mistakes, you got to learn fast. Just say, "Oh, okay, not doing that again. Moving on to the next one." Or else, if you keep
yeah,
doing it, it's just gonna bury you.
I consult a couple companies, yeah, like 6 or 7 a year, usually throughout the year. I say consult. I don't charge them anything. That's pro bono work. But that's how I got where I was at. I joined some best practice groups, and a couple guys that have really big shops were open books and helped a ton. So I've always said, like, anytime someone asks if for help or something, I'll give it to them. And so I've got two local competitors that call probably every other week, once a month for sure.
Yeah.
We run through their stuff and I'll help them. But I do that in that hopefully they have less funny or not funny, oh crap moments. I shouldn't have done that. I tend to burn the ships, go a million miles an hour, but I also know like I'm very big on the people side of our culture. I think
Yeah.
I would put it against any culture in any company that there is of people wanting to be here. Um, but that also, I would say, if I'm, my weaknesses or one of my downsides, I hold situations longer than I probably should when I know they're not great
Yeah.
for the benefit of others. And so I think most of my moments come from that. So that's some of the things. It's a little easier when you're not um, in the weeds of a spot to kind of see it from high level and say, hey, you can spend the next 12 months making the same mistake I made. And then at the end go, oh, crap, this cost us a year and X dollars. Or here's the pivots you need to make or the changes that are really having an effect on your business um, that are, drastic, can make changes overnight if you make them. But I tend to find a problem, say, I need to fix this. And then 12 months later, fix it and go, I should have done that 12 months ago.
Right.
And I knew it, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and things come up. You get busy. You have a huge operation on your hands too. So, I mean, we're all guilty of it. It's human nature. But
Of
switching gears a
course.
little bit on the roofing side, you guys focusing on more commercial because with the HVAC, residential is your bread and butter. Is that going to be the same for, roofing as well too?
Yeah, roofing's a big shop. We got 145 people over there. They were already well established. They've been in business 33 years when we bought them, 33 years.
Hmm.
This is 36 year. And same thing, we'll do 15 million or so, and it'll be like 3 million commercial, 12 million residential. And so the residential is the larger side. Same thing though. It was a mom and pop shop that grew bigger than most mom and pop shops do. And there was a lot of room for improvements and efficiency changes. When we bought them, they were doing 12.5 million, 13 million, all paper. I mean, paper contracts, 20 long. They print every roof they sold. They print four 30, 40 page documents, one for the office, one for the sales guy, one for the customer, one for files. Like, and so that's how everything was done. And at that rate, they're doing, 10 roofs a week or something.
Yeah.
And so we saw some room for improvements. There's a lot of things that went in the first year that made it a little rough. But one of the things that it identified over the last year was like how they look at commercial, where they go after work. And it's kind of this always long-term good connections bring in X number of work, but it only grows by 1 or 2% every year, or dips from a year previous because it's not. And so we've slowly put things into place to grow the commercial quite a bit, but same thing. Residential is bread and butter, so that's where the majority of the focus is. And we've made some big changes even the last 3 or 4 months trying to grow the residential side. Roofing was down the biggest 2 years back to back from the day we bought them. It was already going to the industry as a whole. I mean, numbers somewhere around 45 to 50%. Most companies were down last year across the country. Arizona was hit one of the worst, but it was a brutal 20 months. You want to talk about oops moments, and I laugh just so you don't cry, but we probably bought at the absolute peak you could have sold a roofing company for.
Sure.
And it was 1 month into the downfall of 20 straight months for the industry. It couldn't have been a better deal for the seller and couldn't have been a worse deal for the buyer. And it'll still be a good all in all, but when I look at acquiring companies, and we've acquired a couple over the years, and we look at probably 20 a year, I technically laugh every time I think about that close date and then October 23. Just you want to be in one of those positions. You just want to be on the other side of it, get selling in the stock market at peak height and not buying it from that person at peak height. And that's what it did. So the last 20 months have been some of the most, I didn't know hardly anything about roofing, just business and the home services, and learned a lot in the last, 2 years. And it was a good way. I think at the time, it seemed painful and still kind of does, to be honest. But if it would have gone great for 2 years, I don't think I would have had to immerse myself into the differences in the trades anyways. For home service as much as I have to learn what we have. And so now that it's turned back around, everything's gotten better, or in the process getting better, I feel like we're kind of in the best position we could be. Whereas if we went 2 years and nothing but great, then we had that fall off. I think the comfortability level you get sometimes running as an operator is a negative in the long run. So
yeah,
hopefully we caught most of the fire in the beginning and figured it all out. And so it seems to be going right now.
Sure. Yeah. To that point, I mean, that kind of, what came to mind when you were talking about that was the real estate market probably 5, 6 years ago, when rates were 2, 3% and people were just, you couldn't go wrong selling a house or buying a house or, whatever it was. But, so many real estate agents were hopping in, and now the market's cool. Rates are, 5, 6%, whatever they are now. And, it's harder to sell a house now. So you just see more people, dropping out and all that. But I mean, people were able to ride that wave once during while they could. So, but yeah, no, I completely agree. When it's, the times are tough, that's where you learn. That's where you figure out, okay, hey, let's change this. Let's do this, things of that nature. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you. I mean, it sucks, but in the long run, it is good. It is good. So
Agreed.
yeah. But so what are your plans moving for 2026 to 2027? Any more acquisitions on the horizon? I know, of course, HVAC, roofing, trying to get the plumbing division started, but anything else on top of that?
Yeah, I mean, we're always looking at acquiring. Like I said, it's 15. I probably look at 15 to 20 NDAs for acquisitions a year.
Wow.
The private equity got into the industry a couple years ago. They've always been in it. We've always had the same 3 or 4 players, but tech private equity, a lot of new private equity or family offices got in, and it was just like ridiculous numbers and multiples and stuff. And so it really we had 2 years, 3 years of just this crazy buying. And so now that that's settled, everybody's still hoping for the crazy multiples, and their books, their margins, their processes don't match it. And so yeah, a lot of them are just real unrealistic on expectations. And so we look through a lot of them. Rarely is there a uh, one that makes a ton of sense, at least in the window they're at. So you got to go through a lot to find a few. So we're always looking. Always, whether it's a full acquisition, where there's a couple we're working on right now, where it's a little bit smaller of a company. They've got 90% of the things right, and they can't figure out why they can't grow. And so I said, listen, I'm not really, I don't know if interested in buying it at this, but you're probably worth double this if you did X, Y, and Z in 12, 18 months. And so I'll partner with them, and they're going to kind of run the operation high level of where they want to make the changes. And as long as they're willing to put in the effort, do that kind of work for them.
Mhm.
So we're always looking at those acquisitions. We're kind of pivoting to some opportunities because not all are there just for straight out buying them anymore. But then we're building out a software. AI is a very catchphrase, word that everybody's using. But we were messing with it years ago, and we have now, with some of this, created our own LLM that we have, and doing some back end stuff. So we've got some softwares that we're building it in house. We're using it in house. We're actually running it now in both companies. That uh, fixes 90% of what the home service problems are. Like most everybody who starts an air conditioning company, um, we're really good techs, and like, yeah, I should be doing this myself. We don't understand the business side of it. So then they go and try to learn it, and they learn a lot of it, but there's some small things that people tend to overlook that are probably some of the biggest key factors, leading indicators of what needs to happen. And so we're trying to build out something that does 90% of the thinking for them. And we think we've developed that. So we're going to probably be rolling that out in the next couple of months. We have a few companies using it in beta right now.
Very nice.
But I mean, it's small items is the phone, the CSR side. If a CSR puts the wrong business unit when they book a call, it's supposed to be a tune up and is no cool, or vice versa. It based on what the call was and what was said, it switches stuff in your CRM to make sure it's accurate. It
Mhm.
gives daily reports, real time reports to CSR manager to say, hey, um, this call didn't book, but the person needed it with the information we got, address, it's in your service area, it's the type of call you want. It could have been overcame. We think the CSR kind of screwed that up. You might want to reach out as soon as you can.
Yeah.
Um, or you automate it. And if somebody misses that, it can send them a text, say, hey, sorry, we know you just called. It's
Mhm.
all AI, but it learns off the person on the phone or what your scripts are, all the way through the same with the sales process. It does that to follow up. Like yeah, and I've got 20 years of every shop tour I did, every business owner I talked to that has a $200 million shop, from where we were at to now, everything we know and how we look at stuff and break it down. It is unbelievable when you're not asking ChatGPT what I should do, but have a real learning
Yeah.
LLM system in the back that's doing it. Some of the stuff we're seeing is unbelievable.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Yeah. To that point, it's funny you say that, and you brought all that up. So back to the roofing company that you acquired, the mom and pop shop, printing everything off on a printer, 40 pages a person, to
Yeah.
where we are today, the language learning models with AI, it can reach out to people, it can, do essentially it'll schedule everything until, all you need to do is show up. So,
Yeah.
it's crazy how much technology has changed.
And we're not trying to, I'm not trying to compete with anybody. This, we feel like, is something nobody else is doing.
Hmm.
We're not trying to book the calls. Like, this is more for the business owner
Yeah.
who isn't looking at every call right, or isn't looking at, a lot of times as owners, like, I'm a data driven person. Like, I probably shouldn't have been an accountant in another life. Like, that's all I think about is how the numbers look. Um, but my gut feeling is often a little bit off from where the numbers are. So I like, hey, this feels like we should start running more of these calls and market to this, right? And I manually will take every call we've ever done in a time period. I look at them and then say, why did this person call in? How old was that unit? And break it down to like, how many times have we been in this person's house if they're a club member? And it takes a long time, but I'll write some formulas in an Excel sheet and put them in and do it and then try to say, hey, like this is really where we want to be looking at. This is our sweet spot. So it feels like this should be our sweet spot. But we ran this through our calls and I just kept telling it like, I think there's more here. And I think I'm looking at it wrong because if I had to guess, XYZ happens, number of calls, age of unit, I think we'd see this. I won't get into all the details, but see this. And sure enough, it was right, but we had to go through a couple thousand calls each year to determine that. So we looked over 3 years and we're like, okay, so now what we have is when it listens to the call and we put all the information in, or if they call in existing, I've got it down to about 10% of what that call is going to produce on average. So if a person calls in and as the CSR is talking to them, he or she is talking to them, he'll say it's this level of call. This is $1,800. The guys can go out and sell $1,800 right at 10 times.
Mm-hmm.
And then I compare it to the board and says, well, we don't have any room, but we have 7 calls that are going to produce $500 or less. We can make that decision of we should reschedule this call and put the $1,800 one in today. Or someone's like, I got this age of unit and this, and you think it's a gold mine, but it's only going to produce $900, and every call that filled the board is $1,500. It's like, move it to the next opening where that dollar amount makes the most sense.
Sure.
So anyways, it's that kind of like, thinking in every aspect of the business on an operational side. We'll leave all the follow-ups. It can do a lot more than I want to use it for, but again, it goes back to what can we get the best at and make it like the most effective, and what would we just be doing subpar that other people are probably doing a lot better than us, and let's just stay out of that.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, build that base and then take the next step. If that doesn't work, go back to the base, and then just kind of climb the ladder. So yeah, all about efficiency. I get it. Bryan, I really appreciate your time. Thanks so much. It's been great talking to you, learning more about AQuality, yourself, all the acquisitions, and what you guys are going to be doing in 2026, 2027.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Happy to talk.